Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone. So today I thought I'd share with you sort of what I went through with labour and how my delivery was for when I had little Saira. So if you haven't watched any of my videos before, I am a first-time mum to a little girl who is now 12 weeks. I had her back in April 2018. I remember when I was expecting, I did I was on YouTube all the time. I was on the internet, as you do, you know, Googling every single thing, and I was trying to kind of put myself at ease about labour and the kind of things that you can go through, because I was told so many different stories. Some were like traumatizing, others weren't so much, but I'll be honest with you, honestly, everybody goes through it completely different. I think Sarah just wants to join in the conversation. Don't you? You know, and it is, everybody's body's completely different, so you deal with labour in different ways. So do not get yourself all freaked out or scared when you read or see things, and just don't watch you know, one born every minute. That's so not what you should be watching. It doesn't do you any good at all. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be stressed about it. Your body will know what to do when time comes. So anyway, back to sort of how I went through it. So Saira was born 2 weeks earlier than my due date. So I was due on the end of April. So at the beginning of April, I went to my mum's for a couple of weeks. She doesn't live far from me. She lives about 20 minutes. So, and I was over there, and I remember like the last week I was there, the last few days, I was telling my mum I feel like a bit different. And then on the Saturday before she was born, we went out for a meal, my brothers and my mum, and I could only sit there for half an hour. I felt like, do you know, when I had eaten, I felt like the food, like there was no space for it to go, and I was like, right, I need to go. I couldn't even finish my meal. I was so upset because I went to this really nice restaurant that I really wanted to go to, and then the next morning, on the Sunday morning, I came home. So it was and because I was in a major nesting stage, I was making things around the house. I was packing stuff. I actually had the drill out and I was making a shelving unit for my living room, and I will actually share that with you guys because that is purely for Saira's stuff, and it is really good the way that it is. So I'll share that with you guys in another video. But I remember we were joking and we were saying, oh, it'd be dead funny if I went into labour, because I'm sitting here and I'm holding a heavy drill and I'm doing all this. But I was just so adamant that I wanted to get this thing done. My husband sat on the sofa and he was just laughing at me because I was like, I was acting as if I had no time to do this. Which you guys will know if you've had a baby or if you are going through this now. When you're at that nesting stage, you need to get things done there and then. There's no later in the matter. But anyway, so then that night, that evening, I remember saying, right, I need to go to bed because I feel like really funny. I went and then later, like about 11 o'clock at night, I went to the bathroom and things looked a bit different, and it wasn't like my water had broke like a big, like, you know, I'd wet myself or anything like that. But I came back in my bedroom and I was like, and I told my husband. He was like, oh, it's probably nothing, and he was just reassuring me because I didn't really have any pains. I had no contraction. I didn't actually go through any Braxton Hicks or anything throughout my pregnancy, and my pregnancy, alhamdulillah, was quite well. It was manageable. Like I only was sick twice that I remember, and I did have the sickness feeling at the beginning stages, but then after that I never had any like sort of back pain or anything like that. So it was, if I kind of thought to myself, oh, if I was going to have contractions, I would know, because it'd be something completely different. But then that night, about 1 hour, I woke up in like half an hour intervals with like weird back pain, and And I kept telling my husband, I was like, oh, no, I don't feel very good. So about 5 o'clock in the morning, again, I went to the bathroom, and things did look a bit different. And then I came back, and then we were just like, yeah, we'll just ring the hospital. So I rang the hospital. Midwife asked me, do I think that my waters are broke? I had no idea what that was. I didn't know what it was going to feel like or anything. Like I say, it wasn't like I had wet myself, or I didn't feel like a gush of water or anything like that. So immediately I just said, I don't know, I have no idea. So then she told me, right, it'd be ideal for me to come in. And I had been in a few times, and I didn't think I should really take my bags or anything. So we were like, because it's only like 5-10 minutes up the road from us. So I was like, right, if I need anything, then he can always come back and pick stuff up. So what I did is, I was like, right, yeah, we'll come across. But then the midwife told me to come for about 8 o'clock because there were going to be staff to switch over. So she said, just come for 8 and there'll be a free bed for me. So we went for like 8 o'clock, and they first of all strapped me up, checked baby's heart rate and everything, if baby was okay, and alhamdulillah she was. Oh, you singing? And then, so she didn't examine me then. She actually was just like checking me. She gave me these pads and everything, like maternity pads, and she was checking, and she wasn't really sure. So then she gave me a maternity pad, and she just told me to leave it for about an hour. And in that hour, I had to actually go downstairs and get a scan done just to make sure baby was okay, position was all right and stuff like that. So I did that. And then I came back up, and she checked me again, and she examined me, and she was like, yep, your waters are broke. And it was dead strange because when she said that to me, I thought I didn't even feel a thing, like as in I did not even know. So, there's some people out there who really like definitely know when it happens. I had no idea. So then she explained that because it probably had happened about 11 o'clock last night on the Sunday night, they would have to induce me within 24 hours of that. So basically by 11 p.m. On Monday, which was that day, if I didn't naturally go into labour because of risk of infection and things for the baby and for me. And so it was really strange being told that, somehow or another we would be having a baby, and the next, it's different if it just randomly happens, but then to know that, yeah, it's going to be now, like, it was a bit odd. So, and then she like booked me in. She basically was saying that I'd have a room ready. So the place that I actually had Saira was a birthing centre. So the birthing centre is actually led by midwives, and the way that ours is laid out is that you've got your own room for your delivery, and you've got your own bathroom, and then even on the ward you've got your own room and your own bathroom. So that was kind of what the reasons why I chose to have her at a birthing centre, because we do have the main hospitals around here, but I thought that would be ideal, which they were honestly, they were spot on with the treatment and everything, and supporting me through it, because there's certain times where I got very, very nervous. But anyway, back to what happened. So then they sent me home, because obviously it was only like 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was. And then we came home and told my mother-in-law to an extent that, that things might be happening in the next 24 hours. So then I rang my mum. My mum was on the phone constantly, so then she decided to come over. And my husband, he was working from home, so he picked my mum up. And my contractions had started, and they had... they were beginning to kind of go up my lower back. So it wasn't like I would know when I was having them, because I would just count to 10 and just like breathe through it, and I was just closing my eyes and I was going through it. But I was constantly walking, so I was going up and down the stairs, around my room, around the corridors and everything, and up on the landing. I was walking everywhere, but they were a few minutes apart at the beginning. So my husband was there with the app, like, timing everything, and some of them were longer than others, but it was where you know, it was well within my sort of pain threshold. So, you know, I was still able to message my sisters in between. I was able to have a conversation. I was doing everything. But then it was continuous from about 10 o'clock. And every time I lay down to just have some sleep, because considering I didn't sleep the night before, every time I just closed my eyes, I was getting the contraction. And it was like my body knew, and it was like too relaxed, and I was up again. It was not until about 4:30 that my contractions were about 3 to 4 minutes apart. So at that point, my sister-in-law actually rang the hospital, and she was like explaining that I was meant to be in anyway. So they knew that I was going in for 11 o'clock. So they were just like, yeah, just come in anyway. She's got a room. So I thought, well, if I've got my own personal room and I'm there, and it means that my husband will be there with me, we'll just go. So we actually just went by about 5:30. I had my bags all ready. And so by 5:30 we went. When I was there, they tried to give me the birthing ball. That did not work for me at all. I was using it for the sake of it. It wasn't doing anything for me. But then they had to strap me up. So I was walking around for the beginning, then they strapped me up, and because I was on the bed, and like I say, my pain was on my lower back, what they actually gave me with like them heat beanbag things that you heat up in the microwave. So there were like 2 of them stuck together, and it was about this long, so it went all the way around the back of around my back and my lower back. So it then meant that, you know, every time I was getting a contraction, I was kind of like pushing down on them heat pads, because I felt like I was concentrating on something else. And it was really good, because it really, really helped me. So I was on gas and air as well. And whenever I was getting a contraction, I was pushing down, and then I was just counting to 10. And I remember holding on the side of the bar on the bed as well, just to kind of like go through it and just pulling my arm down. And it was kind of trying to get my mind to concentrate on something else. And I felt like that worked. They also did try and give me, you know, the little machine with does it give you like a sort of electric shock things through your body that's meant to hit you, you know, around different parts of your back, just to try and get you to concentrate on something else. I tried that as well. That kind of didn't do anything for me. At one point, I remember telling the midwife, just take it off me, because you have to kind of press the button every time you get a contraction. But so anyway, I actually just stuck to having them bean bags on, and I was on gas and air. So we went through the whole thing. My husband was there through the entire thing. All throughout the night, I was getting contractions. When I went in initially, I was only like 2 or 3 centimetres dilated, so I still had quite a while to go. And by the next morning, so considering I hadn't even slept, so by the time the morning came, about 8:30 in the morning, my husband had asked the midwife whether or not she knew how far along I was. So she had checked me, and she had said, right, I was only 5 centimetres at the time, but they've got to re-examine me again. So he then asked when they thought I was going to have Saira. So they then said, oh no, it'll not be like late afternoon, for 5-6 o'clock. About 10 o'clock, he then told me what the midwife said about when I was going to be having her. And I remember saying, no, I don't think so. So considering they had checked me earlier, and I was only like 5 centimetres as well. So I was only like about 5-6 centimetres. They were expecting me to kind of dilate about every half a centimetre for every hour. So they were saying it's going to be late afternoon. So at that point, I remember telling my husband that no, it's not going to be that long. And I told the midwife at the time, I said, can you stay here? So she pulled up a chair. She sat right next to me, and she said, no, I'm not going anywhere. So it was like, you know, I had these 2 people next to me. And then all of a sudden my body everything changed, and everything just went a bit tight, and it felt like, I don't know, like my body knew exactly what to do, and it just started like basically pushing, and I just had this urge to just push. And so they were shocked that I was even doing that, but it was like, you honestly have like no control. Like your body knows when it's time, and obviously baby knows when it's like right time for them as well. And then all of a sudden, I just like literally 2 pushes, and then she was out. that part went really fast, and I can't say that, you know, that no, it doesn't hurt or anything, of course, like, but it's because all of a sudden you feel like this, you get this strength to just do it. And at the end of the day, I was like more excited to meet her than anything else. And you think, right, I can go, I've been through this for like 9 months, and I can go through this. Of course you can. You've got all the strength, and you will, inshallah, have that strength when your time comes. But when she came out and she was just given to me and on my chest, I completely, like, you know when people say that you forget what you go through? Yeah, you do. For that minute, everything is about your baby at that point. Like, you don't even care about what's going on around you. You don't care about the fact that they're clearing stuff up, the fact that they're sorting you out. You know, you forget about all of that. You are then engrossed in meeting this little baby. And even when she was like just moved off my chest just to go and get weighed, my eyes were just following her, nothing else. They sorted her out, and we were there for the next for that night. So because I was at the birthing centre, they allowed my husband to actually stay with me overnight, so he did. And she was obviously with us, and the midwives were showing me how to do different things with her. So, I mean, and then by that next afternoon, it was about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, we were home. And alhamdulillah, she was fine and I was fine. So they went through all of the, you know, how to feed her, how to, they checked on her hearing test, they did all of that, they checked her over, and they did everything that they need to do before she came home. So that was all like sort of scheduled in while we were there. So in that sense, it was really, really like, because you've got the support around you, it's a lot easier to go through. So yeah, so that is basically what I went through. Like I said earlier, it's not like everybody goes through the same things and has the same symptoms or anything like that. But hopefully this should give you guys some reassurance that, do you know what, it's all about you, kind of. It's all about how your body deals with things. And I remember even when I used to watch these YouTube videos and everything, and at one point I remember waking up and I was telling my husband that I had a dream that I had went into labour, and it was horrendous. And he then said to me, he was like, you know, that's not necessarily going to be the case. You're just getting your mind set to be scared. And he was right to say that, because then I then changed it, and I thought, do you know what, instead of being scared, I'm going to be more excited to go to meet her and have that sort of, you know, positive thing that actually, you know what, I'm dying to meet my little baby, and I am going to go do as much as I can to get my baby here safely. And, you know, inshallah, you know, I will have all the help that I can get. But yeah, so that is my little story, and alhamdulillah, look, I've got my little Saira here with me. I've just been through quite a bit with you guys, but if you've got any questions, just leave it in a comment below, and please do subscribe, and thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum, bye.